So I'm really glad you're here. I know you came a long way, and I know it was a difficult journey, especially because you've been traveling a great deal of time.
Yeah.
What have you thought about CROI? I know this is your first time.
I've loved CROI. I love the science. The science. I've not been doing the science most of the time, but I love the science behind HIV, behind how we are fighting HIV. Most of the time, I've been doing advocacy, making sure or advocating for gay men, for MSM, or the key populations in Africa to get services. But I really love getting behind the scenes and digging into the science itself.
Right, the implementation science. When you got the invitation to speak, did you know about CROI, or did you think it was just another AIDS conference similar to IAS?
I wasn't sure exactly what it was. Okay, my partner last year attended CROI,
Right.
and he really loved it. Came back and was telling me, well, it's too scientific. He's not in the he doesn't have more of a science background. I thought it was more like AIDS, because AIDS 2012. I thought it was more like that than what it is. Purely science, the science tracks,
Right.
more than anything else.
Yeah. That's interesting that you bring that up, because you know that we have a large scholarship program, and I think Brian was one of the scholarship recipients. And I think sometimes we worry that CROI is so science heavy that it might turn some people off. And you know, the fact that you mentioned that, do you think that there's ways that we can sort of make it a little bit easier for people like Brian or other people from developing countries that don't have the science background, a medical education like you?
That's the tough one. Because I have a medical education, it's like I know how necessary this is, but at the same time, I also, because of the advocacy and community background, I also have a realization that we really need the community here to appreciate what is happening, to appreciate the science, to appreciate the people behind the breakthroughs, and they kind of go out in the field and they do the running around, but then they don't appreciate sometimes what has come from the papers that are written about them. Right. So yes, I think it is necessary to have them around, and it does them a disservice when they come and it's like they cannot appreciate lots of what is happening. But I think CROI is also a little bit. I think maybe it is this time that it is a bit more friendly to the community. So I've met with quite a few of the community groups.
Exactly. I mean, we have a huge amount of community and from everywhere. But we had thought, and tell me what you think about this, of having, let's say, breakfasts where we talk about the most important science of the day and what's going to happen, and sort of break it down into layman's terms, and maybe even have sort of like a coffee thing in the afternoon for people to ask questions about terms they heard. Do you think that would make that a little more palpable for people?
Yes, exactly. I think that would do that. I think that that would be basically the science needs to be at its level.
Right.
But at the same time, you need to be able to break it down for people who have come, especially for the community, to understand what exactly does it mean. If it's a functional cure, so what exactly is a functional cure? Your PrEP for voice hasn't worked. What exactly does that mean? Does that mean that we are going to tell African women that PrEP doesn't work for them? How do you put it? How do you balance voice and femme PrEP against the partner's PrEP?
Right.
So it's that kind of thing. Those who I talked to were like, it's a bit too scientific, and we don't know what exactly to take back home
Right, but a little bit of train the trainer, I think it would just be service to, I think, the community, so that when people go back home, they can digest it in the way that they feel most comfortable.
Exactly.
How did you get involved in advocacy? I mean, you're a physician. There's, I think, whether it be in the U.S. or Latin America or Europe, there's very few trained physicians that are now, quote unquote, activists, advocates. Why you?
Well, I'm an accidental activist. What happened is that I studied in Tanzania and also in Uganda. Finished my studies, and then now I went to. I'm a gay man, and
Right.
I came out to myself. Started assimilating what I am during after the studies, after the undergraduate studies. So now I find that I was in the gay community, and I was in the community, but I didn't appreciate the problem of HIV in the community. Not until somebody referred to me, another gay man who had just tested positive,
Right.
and he didn't. I actually found that I didn't know how to deal with him. So I taught myself, but then the next thing was like, what about all these people? I'm a doctor, they know me, but how do I reach out to them? So started thinking of outreach to them.
Right.
Got into problems with government, and also knowing that there's quite a lot of stigma. I actually appreciated that there's stigma, but I hadn't appreciated how much it was. Yes, I had studied in medical school in African countries, but I had not actually studied about the risk of gay men having HIV and being at such a high risk. But then when I went, I go out to the gay men now, and I tell them, okay, you have a high risk. And they're like, are you sure? What we know is that you can get sex from a woman, but not from a man.
Wow.
So that was a reality check, and I was like, okay, step by small step, I started thinking of ways of getting across the message, and also then looking out for allies.
Right. But for a long time, it seemed like you were wearing two hats. You were a physician. You had, I'm sure, employment. You had physician colleagues. But then to sort of start building from the grassroots level, in Uganda, I know we talked about Millie Katana and how she is one of the pioneers. But for you to be a pioneer in AIDS advocacy, but then also for gay men, I mean, you're a trailblazer, and it's. Do you feel a responsibility? Is like?
It's yes, it is. It was a responsibility, but it was also a kind of anger. I mean, I'm gay. I was becoming quite comfortable with my sexuality, but then also I would get to the point, why are my colleagues, so people that I work with, who will comfortably deal with a person of who is heterosexual, why won't they deal with me? Okay, just because I'm gay, why won't they recognize, and why won't they go to my community, because it is my community? So it was sort of anger also, because to the fact that there was such a disparity, to the point where my community was dying of HIV, was invisible, while they believed, the community itself was led to believe that they could only get HIV from heterosexual sex, and they thought that we are free of it.
Yeah.
So
it just, hearing you makes me think about the early days of ACT UP, and you know about ACT UP, and that it started out from a group of activists who were gay activists, gay and lesbian activists who were part of the movement, and then all of a sudden AIDS happened, and so they, while still had one foot in, gay rights, AIDS came along and they said, this can't happen. We need to educate ourselves. We need to fight for ourselves.
Yeah, sure.
So the fact that, you're trying to work on gay rights and HIV is interesting. how did you get your talk at IAS? Who asked you to do that, and did they expect you to be such a fireball? Because people are still talking about it.
Well, how did it come about? I'm not sure. I just got okay. Yeah, I was a member of the steering committee of the MSMGF,
Okay.
and basically, I have a feeling they're the ones who recommended me, and well, I was not really thinking that it was going to be a fireball. It
It
just
just happened.
somehow worked through.
Right.
It just somehow worked through.
Yeah. But so then walk me through the progression of after giving that talk, how soon did you have to leave Uganda for South Africa? What were the steps and what were some of the just, fears that you had?
Well, coming out in Uganda is a difficult thing. I decided at the beginning of last year that I would not be going back to Uganda, and especially that decision was reinforced by the fact that I had decided that I'm going to come out openly during my talk.
Right.
So I was in South Africa and I got a ticket. I made sure that I got a ticket from South Africa to DC for the talk, and then
Right.
I would be going back. I've not been to Uganda since the talk. I mean, basically, it's like one. It wasn't a comfortable talk to most of the Ugandans from the
Right.
feedback which I got, and yes, I came out as a gay man. Yes, I've been to Parliament talking about the anti-homosexuality bill and how it would affect key populations, especially the MSM in Uganda. But I was talking as a doctor. I wasn't talking as a gay man. I wasn't really comfortable going back and having to look over my shoulder all the time. I decided I would go join Brian in South Africa.
Yeah, but the fact that, technically you're a refugee.
Yeah, technically I'm a refugee. I mean, it's...
And you did it for your safety, but...
yeah, technically I'm a refugee. It's tough being gay and being in Uganda. I mean, just a few days ago there was a clip which was going around. A cross-dressing man was beaten up, undressed with the cameras rolling, and then they took this clip and they showed it on national television, and it's like, seriously? I mean, we kind of we grew up in that kind of atmosphere, and we're like, okay, maybe it doesn't happen. Maybe it will never happen to me. It can happen to him, but it won't happen to me. But when you get to the point of, okay, I'm going out and saying I'm gay, and this is my partner, then I start looking over my shoulder and think, well, Kato really died, and that is not. It happened to him, so it's not a totally theoretical fear.
Right. No, I understand, and if you want to be safe, and if you want to be able to love your partner and do the work you need to do, you need to be somewhere where you're accepted.
Yeah. Where you're accepted, where you can talk and not have to hide behind what. I mean, when I was in Uganda, because of the time all the time that I was interacting with the community and talking out on behalf of the community, the rumors went around that I was gay, and I was like, okay, I will not deny it, but I will not at the same time I will not say that I am. Coming out and saying yes, I am gay it was a big step.
Yeah, well, big step, and also coming here, sharing your story, giving your plenary. I really thank you. I think you woke a lot of people up, and you gave a great message.
Thank you. Thank you.